All right, what's up, y'all? Today is the 2nd of January, 2026. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. This is a video on our main side where we allow the body to work. There are 4 sides to In the Image Clothing Company. That is what we do here on our main side. We will do what we do. I'll show you Dante. Here's Dante. Yee! Almost dumped him backward like a dump truck. We're here, okay, blunt, bold, raw, real, as we do In the Image Clothing Company. Dante is my standard poodle. 1/4 of In the Image Clothing Company is In the Image Clothing Company poodles. What we do for human beings here on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company with allowing the body to work, we do the same thing on In the Image Clothing Company poodles with information that applies to all dogs on letting dogs stay natural. Our information really applies to all animals as well, but eating, sleeping, standing, walking, sitting, breathing, hydration, everything we do as a human being we discuss here under In the Image Clothing Company, and doing it natural and through the wind noise, through the surrounding sounds, where we do it, when we do it, if it's like that. It is because we just do this, as I said, blunt, bold, raw, and real. It's just what it is. The information's here. You can get it. You can glean from it, if you will. Dante, come. Hey. Good. Good boy. We are in a place where it's safe for Dante to be off leash, just so you know. But allowing the body to work, anything that clothes the human being is clothing. In addition to all the other things we discuss in our lives, the first thing we're doing all of this through is what's physically placed on us. Clothing, yikes, truly is the only fix to human beings' physical problems. Don't believe me, but we discuss the anatomy of the human body in such depth, there's no possible dispute to what we say. It's nothing to do with us. Designed in the image of God, in the image of Jesus Christ, our bodies are designed. So we're a clothing company for anything that clothes the body, to allow the body to work. Even glasses or jewelry, anything placed onto the body, there's only one way the human body could ever work. It's just a mechanical machine placed onto the rock in space that is our Earth. No opinion to ever have. The human body is just mechanics. That's a video Dante and I filmed about a week and a half ago, give or take, from today's date. Where'd he go? He's right there. I'm not worried about him, but I want to keep an eye on him at the same time, right? That's a lot of what we do on In the Image Clothing Company poodles. Show how to be a good owner of dogs, keeping less dogs in shelters, more dogs at homes. We talk about clothing for dogs like clothing for human beings when it comes to collars, leashes, harnesses, slip leads, whatever we place onto our dogs, keeping them centered and allowing the dogs' bodies to be unaltered. But information on dogs as well, with the health of dogs, proper breeding for dogs, purebred dogs, why it's important, okay, for the health, not the prestige. He loves it out here so much. So do I. Okay, we live up Utah as In the Image Clothing Company. We do so much under the gift of video, under all 4 sides of In the Image Clothing Company. We do so much in nature for the sake of Utah's beautiful diversity out here. It's wonderful. Except I'm not a fan of the cold. Dante and I will be moving down to St. George, Utah as soon as we can from today's date. You stay here, boy. No, you... Good boy. He's trying to go under this gate, and I want him over here by me. Okay? Okay? But St. George, Utah, the very southernmost part of Utah, it's very warm in comparison to here, more central northern Utah, in Utah County, where we currently are. It gets very cold here in the winters, and with us doing what we do under In the Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong, as the founder / leader of In the Image Clothing Company for life. Dante, come! Good boy. Stay over here, okay? Just don't go under there. There's nothing dangerous. I just want him to know his boundaries. But beautiful red rock sandstone, true desert down in St. George, Utah. I mean, it looks like this in a lot of areas down there, but slick rock, you know, sandstone type. Yeah. barren wasteland to some people. It's beautiful though. Okay. Anyway, a lot of what we do is for the environment. A lot of what we do is to get people into nature and dogs into nature through things like poodle parade events under In the Image Clothing Company poodles. Okay, bring your poodles, purebred of any size or mixed poodles of any size. Don't come for us as far as the team under In the Image Clothing Company or our poodles. We will have many as time progresses with our breeding program, right? And just, we love poodles. As In the Image Clothing Company, with 1/4 of us being In the Image Clothing Company poodles specifically for our dog 4th, right? So, come, have a good time, okay? Check scheduling, InTheImageClothingCompany.com. We just do things as we do. Human being clothing, dog products to stay centered. Fit Correct, where we discuss clothing sits and how we discuss dog products need to be for the sake of the mechanics of the bodies of flesh and blood and bone, okay? And in all the ways we can be made from 100% natural materials. The goal is natural on all 4 sides of In the Image Clothing Company. Natural is really the only thing that there actually is. We've got a lot of things in modern day that are new, just decades ago from today's date. Stretch in clothing, unnatural, synthetic, artificial materials, synonyms with fake. They're new, and often they bring with them stretch. The human body only pulls is a video under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company here, but it's just the truth. We get down to truth under In the Image Clothing Company to the best of our imperfect, sinful by nature, human being abilities. The human body only pulls even in what seems like a push. We're just pulling endpoints of muscles where they connect to bones through tendons together on the backside of a hinge to extend the hinge. Even when our hand is going farther from us, we're pulling our hand away from us, okay? There are opposing muscles to each function, and that's how there is functioning. There is opposition in all things. There's opposing sides to everything. There's light because there's dark. There's warmth because there's cold. We discuss on 1/4 of In the Image Clothing Company, In the Image Clothing Company podcast, the gospel of Jesus Christ. Literally translated, that's the good news of God. We are all human beings. The same thing placed on the same earth, designed by one God. There is only truth to life. Before any opinions could happen, there has to be something to have an opinion on. Before you could believe in anything, you had to first be there to believe for or against something. There's always truth, only and ever. His name is Jesus Christ, the designer of the human body, the creator of all things, the great I am. Don't believe me, Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, or anyone, including Dante or any poodles, at In the Image Clothing Company's team, as our team builds. Don't believe us. We give a lot of information. We speak things that are opposing what a lot of people say. But truth is truth. We couldn't ever take credit for truth. We couldn't ever decide truth. Any one of us equal human beings ever. Okay? But we can understand it. We can develop a relationship with Him, the truth Himself, God, Jesus the Christ. And there's only truth. It was there before we were, it's here today, and it always will be. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Just like the human body, it's always been the same. Every human to ever be will never improve it, enhance it, or change it. It's just a mechanical machine. A lot of what we do is deal with Earth's gravity, okay? And that's a big point, okay? Keeping our bodies over Earth's gravity, your center of gravity, staying in your center line. These are 3 videos here under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company to reference right now that really are geared around gravity as one of the big things that we deal with as human beings, okay? And the dogs as well. Dogs are the same, right? They have a sternum, a spine, a trachea, a nose, and a jaw. The jaw stabilizing the entire body. These things are all in the center line on Earth's center of gravity. This is the same for human beings and dogs, as well as many animals. A lot of our information on In the Image Clothing Company poodles will apply to all animals, just about. Most all animals. It's windy, I get it. My nose is dripping, I get it. But you can hear me. You can hear me. Even if it's kind of difficult too, you can hear me, okay? The winds, man, the winds. So, clothing, right? It's got to be placed on our bodies in the only locations our bodies mechanically operate. I'll talk about where clothing sits right now, and then we'll get into this discussion as we do. Anyway, though, in the Image Clothing Company podcast, before I say that, we're on episode 198 as of today's date. And you don't have to be religious. You don't have to believe in anything. I don't believe in anything. Beliefs just send us straight to hell. There's only truth, and we get down to truth, or we can have our opinions and beliefs on it. That's not what it is. There's only truth to life ever. No human could decide. As I said, it's just what it is. It's always there. Yikes. Deep insights on life is really just what we share under In the Image Clothing Company podcast. Yeah, there you go. Okay, but clothing sits for every body who has one, or everyone who has a body, every human being on the planet. Even if your body is different to a degree, amputation, deformity, major surgery, or birth defect, whatever it is that sets your body apart a little bit or quite a bit, it doesn't matter. As a universal human design skeletal system, we can learn the anatomy of the human body, meaning how it works, how it operates, how all the bones connect, the only way they're shaped through ligaments, and then between them there's just a little layer of cushioning or cartilage, and everything has to track in line. There's two sides to everything. There's opposition in all things. There's only one way the human body could ever work for every body, okay? Man, woman, tall, short, skinny, fat, any age, any part of the earth, any time period to ever be, you are just a human being. Clothing has to sit where our pants are entirely above our hips. What's called our natural waist. Above the hip bones, but below those lowest ribs, is actually where we bend side to side at the spine. You can't bend side to side at the hips without a foot coming off of the ground. Mechanically, it's just impossible to do that otherwise, okay? The spine bends forward and back as the hips do, but the spine also bends side to side. The spine is in the center of the body, coming down, connecting into the hips, okay? The pelvis, or the hips. So what we have is our pants sitting at our natural waist and slightly higher in the front than the rear. We have a neutral to the pelvis's rotations. The pelvis, correlating with our feet flat on the earth's surface, we talk about the importance of zero drop shoes. The term zero drop in shoes just means the sole of the shoe, or the bottom of the shoe, is flat, just like the surface of the earth would be standing on. We have modern shoe designs that put elevation or heels under our foot's heel, and that just changes the entire body all the way up, okay? Dante and I filmed a video just right over here, like feet from where I am right now, a few days ago, titled, a few days ago from today's date, that was just a couple days ago actually, The Natural Bend in the Knee. We filmed a video yesterday titled, The Natural Curve in the Spine. And these things won't be here if we have heels on our shoes that are just man-made, under our God-made feet heels. You put heels under your feet, you change your entire body with its bends all the way up. The body has bends. The ankles bend backward, so that opposing that, the knees bend forward. Opposing that, the hips bend backward. Opposing that, the lower third of the back bends forward. Opposing that, the mid third of the back bends backward. Opposing that, the upper third of the back, really the neck, bends forward. Just to keep us vertical on Earth's gravity. It's impossible to train. It's mathematics, it's physics, it's mechanics. There's measurements to the bends of the body to just oppose each other to keep us vertical. It's impossible to train posture. There is only one way the human body could ever work. It's residing in its neutral positions. Neutral, natural, and normal are synonyms within the human being, and there's only one way the human body could ever work. No opinion, no new information. It's been the same since God. For him to design us in his image, he had to first look like us. It's always been this way. God's been here since the beginning. He is the beginning. He is also the end. He's all things. It's God, the creator of all of this. Outside of everything, there's got to be something, or there couldn't be an inside. I really actually legitimately am a preacher. I deliver sermons of Jesus Christ under In the Image Clothing Company podcast. But it shocks me as much as anyone else a lot of the time, what I say. That's how it works when we let God work through us as a vessel. Man, it takes it out of me too in a good way. So, feet flat on the ground so they can work. that correlates with our pelvis, neutral, from its rotations. Tucking underneath us farther from neutral is posterior with the rotation of the pelvis. That straightens us excessively straight. From the neutral, where we're slightly bent, into ranges of motion in the body, and then we can tuck the pelvis, really rotate it in a position where it's falling away from us, going more into the bend it already has, anterior, lower in the front or higher in the rear, and now our bodies just have an excessive bend on Earth's gravity. So there's that neutral, the pelvis with the neutral feet flat on the ground, either just barefooted on the surface of the earth or in the term zero drop in any brand of shoe. Okay, so what we have is the feet, and we just put so much focus on the feet. The top of the feet is half of their function. Lifting the toes is dorsiflexion versus the neutral with our feet flat on the ground, or the term zero drop in shoes. Pointing the toes is plantar flexion, and that's the sole of the shoe. So there's just two sides to it, or we couldn't walk, okay? And what we have is the top of the foot with half of its function being determined by the shoe laces, or the upper of the shoe. In the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique is one of our two prerequisites, in addition to where clothing sits, just to not alter the body under In the Image Clothing Company, but also it's just the real, well, not also, but really why it is one of our two prerequisites is because it's the only way the top of the feet are shaped. We just title it In the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique. It's just a weave of a rope, but there's only one way the top of the feet are shaped. There's just bones connecting to bones through ligaments, and then tendons connecting to those bones that then connect to muscles that connect to other bones through tendons. Anyway, yeah, there's only one way the human body could ever work. No opinion. We just get into chronic patterning where scar tissue builds up in the body and bone spurs build up in the body. And we have parts of the body that just get so bound up when we put oversized clothing on our bodies, imbalances of clothing in any kind, ropes introduced to our bodies like shoelaces or drawstrings or anything. You could just tie one side of a rope over, or we could just tie one side of anything over, call it a rope, call it a knot. That's not how the body works if we're twisting the body, you know? It just has to stay centered and even. There's a center line to it, there's a center of gravity. There's only one way the human body could ever work. No opinion, no new information. This is what we do under In the Image Clothing Company, though, is we get to God. So, pant waistlines, slightly higher in the front than the rear, just because we don't ever want our pant waistline to fall lower in the front than neutral. Otherwise, we're just excessively bending the hips in the direction they already bend. And so we want to be just very slightly higher in the front than the rear with the waistband of our pants. To do all that we can, talk about blunt, bold, raw, and real In the Image Clothing Company. Yeah. Gross, I know, but hey, my nose is dripping. It's cold. It's like in the 30s degree Fahrenheit temperatures out here in Utah currently. So we have to have our pants never falling lower than neutral in the front, or they're just excessively bending. Slightly higher in the front just does all that we can at that point to ensure that we keep them at least neutral, but even slightly higher in the front, just make sure there's no pull on our pelvis that's unnatural, okay? From Earth's gravity's centered pull is the point, okay? It's impossible to train posture. It's gravity, okay? If we don't allow our bodies to work, though, you'll never have a neutral, natural, or normal body working. So there's only one way it could ever possibly function, just being a mechanical machine. Designed by God, huh, Dante? It's not our choice. You didn't design your body, I didn't design mine. I can't tell you something about an opinion that would matter to anyone. It would only be damaging, okay? But this is the point. Tops that we have sit where the seams on top of our shoulders are behind the peak of our shoulders evenly. The peak of the shoulder is the other end of the collarbone from the center line of the body. The sternum, it comes up and out, meets the upper arm bone or the humerus and the scapula or the shoulder blade at the shoulder capsule, okay? So the collarbone or clavicle, determines the position of the shoulders, and the shoulders follow shoulder seams. shoulder seams need to sit evenly behind the peak of our shoulders. Our shoulders only ever work behind our head. One of the three bones only ever sits behind the rib cage. One of the three bones of the shoulder, the scapulas, those big bones on our upper backs, they sit behind the bones of the ribs. They're never going to come in front of the bones of the ribs, okay? It seems like it got excessively loud. It is what it is. I'm loud, so you know, I can usually yell over the surrounding sounds for these videos, that's great. So you can hear what I'm saying, because this information applies to you even if you don't care about clothing, or if you think I have an opinion. Well, I don't. Truth is truth. I have an opinion on whatever I do, where I do. I try to never. But under In the Image Clothing Company, this is just universal information applying to every human to ever live that I could never take credit for, okay? But the shoulders will just follow shoulder seams. The shoulders connect through musculature to the very base of the rear of the skull from the top of the scapula or shoulder blade, which is behind the rib cage, you know, and then to the spine as well is where they connect. The point is, the shoulders can only ever possibly mechanically work behind the head, okay? And there's a neutral. Keeping elbows at the natural waist, a video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company, something we just put focus on in all aspects of life. Gravity, you know, the natural waist, where our pants sit, that's where our elbows need to be. That's what's determining our neutral shoulder position. That's what's allowing us to bend side to side at the spine without our shoulders and elbows being too low from their neutral and hitting our hips and our elbows together, right? The elbows at the natural waist then have an area there between bones, the hip bones and the lowest ribs. Between there at the natural waist, that's where the elbow bones sit, where the humerus meets the radius and ulna in the elbow. It's just has to have a place to be where it's not going to bash into other bones. Okay, so this is determined by the top seams of our shoulders. They need to sit back there, okay, evenly. In the Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification. We give a lot of free modifications under In the Image Clothing Company in clothing. You would never have to purchase In the Image Clothing Company clothing or In the Image Clothing Company dog products to allow your body to work or to let your dog stay natural through products, right? Free modifications is one of the big things we do and give freely under In the Image Clothing Company, okay? And always that will be the case. Just like always, the gift of video will be such a massive, truly, part of who we are as In the Image Clothing Company. Because all that we do, if we can film it, then it's documented. It's cool to be able to have documentations, man. It's impactful, you know, it's amazing. The gift of video. You do it once and you're done. It lasts forever. That's crazy, okay? That's what I'm doing here, right? Eternal truth documented under one video that'll last for literally ever. That's ridiculous. It's a new thing. I mean, we didn't have video just when we didn't, you know, I mean, it's an invention in a sense of human beings, you know, being able to film things through video, record things through video, it's amazing. All right, so this is the point with the tops, is they're affecting the body if they're not placed in the only location the body works in. You know, gravity is pulling down on our clothing just as much as it's pulling down on our bodies, and so it just needs to pull down on our clothing in a position that'll allow our bodies to be in their neutral location in all senses of what that means, okay? And so what we have with the edge seams of our tops is edge seams that need to be at the edges of our shoulders. Where those three bones for the shoulder connect and meet, right at the very edge of the shoulder, is as close as we can get, right? I mean, yeah, to function. I mean, if we can get the seams of our shoulders to meet at what we could call the seams of the shoulder, or the joints of the material of the clothing to meet at the joint of the shoulder, right at the same location, then our bodies can work. Okay, so there you go. That's a big point. So that's where clothing sits. That's the baseline. We get in depth with it in free modifications and just discussing a lot of things that could possibly be very different or discrepant throughout the body, you know, left to right or in parts of the clothing, design choices that are added into clothing that are only damaging the body. Lots of things, okay? Just never stretch in any clothing. Remember, muscles only contract. The human body only pulls. Stretch in clothing is just new decades ago from today's date, tens of years back from today's time period, but today is the 2nd of December. No, it isn't. Today is the 2nd of January, 2026 now, as of 2 days ago, right? 2026. Yeah, I say dates so often, and so each new year, it's like, sometimes I have to try to, think a couple times about it before I say the correct year, when I'm so used to saying 2025, up until a couple days ago. So, yeah, just tens of years back, stretch got put into clothing. It goes the opposite direction of the only way muscles could ever possibly physically, mechanically operate. That's what the human body is. It's a machine to physically, mechanically operate us across the earth. Okay? So, anyway, the point is, clothing. I mean, you don't have to care to care. Clothing's affecting you if it's affecting you. If it's not placed on your body, the only way your body works, your body's not going to work. And you'll build up patterning that might last your entire life, and you don't even know. We don't know what we don't know. We can't be held accountable for what we don't know. But truth is truth. It doesn't matter if you believe anything. I don't. People don't have beliefs sometimes, and they still exist. Okay? So, secondly, our other prerequisite under In the Image Clothing Company to not alter the body, in addition to just baseline where clothing sits, like I just discussed here with pants and tops. Removing all tags. Tags in clothing. Yeah, removing all tags from clothing. Tags in clothing didn't even exist just decades ago from today's date either. A lot of why they started to have to put them in there is because the unnatural materials that often bring stretch with them that got invented get placed onto the body, and people have reactions to these things. So legally it became a thing to have to know what was in the clothing we're purchasing. If other people are making it out of unnatural, synthetic, artificial, synonyms with fake materials. Same within our food. These same labelings are in our food. We talk about eating naturally. Eating and drinking with the left hand, just meaning the non-dominant hand. The jaw just does stabilize the entire body. Okay. Eating and drinking with the left hand is a video here under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. We've got a lot of videos though, as of today's date, the 2nd of January 2026, talking about the jaw, the importance of even jaw musculature, the importance of the corners of the mouth. Yeah, the jaw is the shoulder. Okay? The musculature and tendons coming from the lower jawbone or the mandible come down and connect to the edge of the shoulder. They're going through the collar of our top. If we don't keep collar centered, well, there you go, keeping collar centered, a video here under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company, then we can't support our own head or our jaw, which the jaw stabilizes the entire body, so it travels to our fingertips and our toe tips from an imbalanced collar alone. Okay, so animals, right? In the Image Clothing Company, poodles, letting dogs stay natural, keeping collars centered. There you go. Okay, so anyway, big things, big stuff, big things. Removing all tags from clothing, though, they're either causing a physical gap, changing the body's only working position, and or they're just not allowing musculature to activate. The human body can only ever work activated as a whole. It's all there. Everything's got its own individual, different role to play than everything else. And so no compensation can actually be had because something can't make up for something else with an entirely different function than it. Okay? And we have different length toes that were different. It reminded me of how we just discussed. We have different length toes. That's a big point, okay? In the Image Clothing Company shoelace technique, I'm telling you, something that you don't have to believe, but it's the only way the top of the feet are shaped. Okay, holy cow, the wind. I'm cold. Dante, are you cold? He's not cold. Dante's got hair on his whole body that keeps him warm. Okay, that's how that works. So, the body, it's only how it is, it only works how it works. That's what I'm saying. God designed, okay? reaching down with the left hand. Did I tell you? I'm pretty sure. I know at the beginning I said something like, this video's title is, I don't know if I said it though, or if I got into something else before I did. Reaching down with the left hand is this video's title. We live in a right-handed world. 85% give or take of human beings are right-handed, so we do things and get into a right-handed patterning with our rotations. There's rotations in the body from the neutral, like in the forearms, there's two bones, the radius and the ulna. We bend our arms with our elbows at our natural waist. With our thumbs up, we have internal rotation from the neutral. Okay, bringing our thumbs in. We have external rotation from the neutral, pointing our thumbs out. The entire arms from the fingertips to the shoulder, locked out of the elbow. Internal rotation from the neutral, and external rotation from the neutral. In the lower leg, from the foot to the knee, we have internal rotation from the neutral, pinky toe straight forward. External rotation from the neutral, pinky toe straight forward. And then the entire leg from the foot to the hip, locked out at the knee, we have internal rotation from the pinky toe straight forward and external rotation from the pinky toe straight forward, okay? The human body just has neutrals. It's something you can't train to. Neutral is the resting state, just like gravity's pull on our arms with our arms hanging down at our sides. That's the resting state. Okay, oh gosh, my wrist popped in a way that I've never felt it pop before. That was shocking. Wow, talk about resting state. That's the thing, I was flopping my wrists around and it just was rested. It's released, it's relaxed, and so it just, you know, did what it did. Okay, reaching down with the left hand. Because in this right-handed world, we get into a right-handed patterning. We get farther external with the rotation on the right side of our bodies. And just because of the mechanics of what causes internal rotation to happen versus external rotation to happen, okay, the pinky finger and internal rotation, the open palm and internal rotation from the shoulder to the foot. These are some videos Dante and I have filmed under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company here in the past couple weeks, give or take, from today's date back. The 2nd of January 2026 is today's date. We have our bodies just farther away from us, dropped lower when they are in external rotation. And living in this right-handed world, we're just reaching down to do things. If we're just reaching at all to do anything that's not at the height of our hand, I guess, when our elbow's bent at our natural waist, most everything we do in life will be reaching for, to get, if we're using our hand for it. And if your hand, which is your shoulder, okay, drops lower than its neutral, it's going to just externally rotate. That's just what'll happen because of the musculature that causes internal rotation, like the upper trapezius muscle, raising the shoulder up and in as we pivot up and in on this collarbone from the center line of our bodies out to the shoulder edge. And so when the collarbone angle drops, oversized clothing and the collarbone, a video here under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. When the collarbone drops, the whole body on that side of whatever collarbone has dropped will go external. Just because the collarbone, as it comes down, it goes out because it's just pivoting from the center line out to the edge of the shoulder, and that's just the angle that the bone is in on the body. Okay, there's no way to train anything. It's impossible. The body's just connected the way it is. The bones are only shaped and lengthed the way they are. Yeah, there's only a neutral to the entire body. That's it. We just have to allow it to work. That's it. It's impossible to get the human body to do anything. God designed it. There's only one way it works. You'll never get enough of what's not for you. You know, people go to training things, whatever. People go to the gym, people have personal trainers, you know, people are going to the chiropractor and the physical therapist all the time. It's impossible to get your body to do anything. Don't even think that I have anything to say that matters. Try to find the truth, and that's the truth. It's nothing to do with me, Evan Strong. But I am the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, in this for life, leading this, and this is what we do. We deliver the truth. Yeah, we didn't design it, we didn't decide it, we can't decide it, we can't have an opinion on it that would ever matter. okay? Yikes. We just don't know though, if we don't. And that's why we're telling you. Anyone could tell you, it's not about us, but we're just the ones doing what we're doing. There you go, okay? Yeah, it's just amazing. It's great. It's God. It's truth. Jesus Christ. I mean, it's just what it is. No opinion. When you really get down to it, all right, don't believe me though. Don't believe me. But this is the point. We drop our shoulders lower. That's what I'm saying, is external rotation just happens because of the collarbone. It's just pivoting on where it connects on the inside of the body and the outside of the body, the center line of the sternum and the outside of the shoulder capsule, shoulder joint, okay? Yeah, so in a right-handed world, if we're just using our right hand for things more, you know, and sure, this is flipped for those that are left-handed, you know, everything we say in this video about a right-handed patterning, other than you still live in a right-handed world, products are designed to be used with the right hand if they're designed to be used with one hand over the other. And clothing patterns themselves, to a degree, are right-handed in their designs, at least in modern day. Things that we just didn't have to deal with in the past, like rotated seams. In the Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification, one of our many free modifications, you know, they'll stitch clothing with robots nowadays, which is just new, like very, very recent past, from the 2nd of January 2026, today's date back. They'll stitch clothing in one direction and they'll flip it around and stitch it in the same direction, but now on the opposing sides, you know, we have a rotation. And this is almost always in a right-handed patterning, putting our bodies more external on the right, dropping our bodies on the right. So we're just almost always, as human beings in this right-handed world, if you are right-handed at least, again, just flip this information on the personal human being patterning apart from the world, but your own physical mechanics if you're left-handed, okay? But 85%, give or take, of human beings, we're just in a right-handed patterning. We're just reaching for things in our lives with our right hand. We're vacuuming, you know, cleaning the carpet with our right hand. We're reaching down to pet our dogs with our right hand. We're reaching down to pick something up off the ground with our right hand. You know, you're just doing things with your right hand. It's the hand you're used to using the most. You're the most coordinated with. You're the most dexterity. Well, not necessarily. You don't normally have the most dexterity with your right hand, even being right-handed, because it's in patterning. And so it's actually harder to get nice, fine little motor skills and dexterity in the hand because it's being used so much, and then it ends up being used incorrect through clothing patterns. And then it builds up scar tissue in it and bone spurs. Like my own personal case. We just document this stuff under the gift of video. We date mark things. You can see what I mean with that, you know, as time progresses, but then as you know, well, yeah, I mean, up until now too. The point is, I've said many times, you can watch me, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. I am in this for life. I'm in this for life is an episode of In The Image Clothing Company podcast. It's titled, spoken by me, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, Evan Strong. Okay. What I'm saying is, you can watch my body's visual and physical transformation, just getting out of chronic patterning and scar tissue, bone spurs, you know, problems in the body, because you can't train your body to do anything. You can work out all you'd like to. Once you stop, your body goes back to the human body's only normal. But you can watch my body's permanent physical and visual transformation through the truth of what we do under In The Image Clothing Company, because I am the founder and we just preach what we have practiced. We speak out of personal experience, trial and error, prayer and revelation. So, yeah, I mean, you can just watch my body change, and how else am I doing it, you know? You gotta be doing something that works, even if you don't believe it is actually clothing. That's what I mean. Don't believe in anything. Truth is truth. Okay, I don't believe in anything. Truth is truth. Okay, but we're always, almost always, reaching with our right hand. Okay? Reach down to put a collar on Dante. It's more common for me to be just naturally doing it with my right hand. I'm right-handed. You know? Just walking by, reach down to pet Dante, I'm gonna reach down instinctively, being right-handed with my right hand. But we don't just have the body alone. We have Earth's gravity, body has a center line, the earth has its center line of gravity's pull that need to mesh. But then we have another thing happening, clothing. We have something always placed on us. Tops are like a cage for the shoulders. A video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company here, but we just discussed this. Tops are like a cage for the shoulders. Tops need to lock the shoulders in place. Okay, like I said earlier in this, where I discussed where clothing sits for every body, meaning every human out there, no matter how different yours is, you're still on Earth's gravity, you're still breathing, you still have to have that center line remain to the best of your own personal ability, you know, through prosthetics, through whatever it is, you know, we just do what we can to do what we can. Really, we do all that we can to do all that we can to get our bodies as close as we can to the universal human design so that it can physically operate the best it can in our own individualistic situations. That's the point of that, right? Getting as close as we can to the universal human design. That's just how it's going to work the best. We have to breathe. The rib cage is expanding and contracting in 360 degrees, meaning all the way around every breath we take. Unless it's altered by what's physically placed on it. The only thing that is our clothing. Anything that clothes the human body is clothing the human body with something. Okay? So, clothing. It's just as much affected by Earth's gravity as our bodies are. The musculature of the body connects from the outside of the shoulder into the center line. In the front, the pectorals from the shoulder to the sternum, pulling in, evenly opposing the center line. In the rear, from the scapula or shoulder blades to the spine, evenly opposing the center line, the musculature contracts or pulls and connects, okay, to operate the body. Good boy, Dante. I'm still focused on you, buddy, kind of. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. He's so content. He doesn't need like entertainment. He just loves to be out here. So, anyway, I'd have you jump up, but you've got some muddy feet and I've got a light colored shirt and I'm still in the middle of this video, so I'll just pet you for a second here. Oh, well, here you go. Okay, my right hand, I'm reaching down to pet Dante. This is his ear. Okay, he actually is right here. I know you couldn't quite see him in the frame, but look at this. Reaching down with the right arm, look at what my body does, versus reaching down with the left arm, look at what my body does. We're still over Earth's center of gravity. We're still having the center line of our body have to be opposing itself. Look at the rotations. I reach down with my right arm. From my right hand, there's external rotation traveling up to my right shoulder. But on the other side, my left hand up to my left shoulder has to internally rotate if I'm going to stay centered, just to balance out the contraction of the musculature, okay? As muscles pull in closer to the body, we internally rotate. Like I was showing, just watch the angle of the collarbone. It comes up and in, internal rotation to the body. I'm in this for life. It's truth, not my opinions or choices. So yeah, you know, you have to internally rotate with the side that's higher than the side that's lower. That'll be externally rotating. You have to internally rotate with the side that's higher than the side that's lower. That'll be externally rotating. So either side that it is, we have to just change our rotations opposing the center line of our body to stay vertical on Earth's gravity. If we just reach down and we didn't do anything with the other side of the body, and you reach down with your right arm, you would just fall over because you just change your center of gravity. And if you don't compensate, no, let's not use that word, because it's a proper accommodation for contraction of internal rotation on the opposite side, of elongation of external rotation on the side you're reaching down with. Okay, doing this, the accommodation from side to side, our bodies can stay centered as we reach. And if we don't have the other side accommodating, then we'll just have a foot come off the ground, or just fall over, or something, because our center of gravity just gets moved off to the side if we have one of our arms going farther away from its neutral resting position with Earth's gravity at our sides. Okay, so reaching down with the right arm is almost what we're always doing, as human beings just in life if we're not centered, or if we're just using our hands for things and you're right-handed, okay? So, I'm just watching him. If he's gonna try to drink out of this gross puddle, I'm gonna scream at him. Good boy. So, we have accommodation happening in the body, which is great. It has to. There's two sides to it. If one side's doing something, the other side has to accommodate. Okay? Compensation is not good. That's when something in the body's trying to work in a way it doesn't. When something else is being used in a way that it doesn't actually work. Okay? It's raining. It was already cold enough without being wet from the rain, so we'll see what we do with this video. We'll say enough of what we need to say in this video for it to be what it needs to be today. As of today's date, the 2nd of January 2026. But picture this. We've got scapulas, those big bones, the shoulder blades on the upper back. They're wrapping and moving around the rib cage on the rear of the body, okay? Big flat bones that are really just spanning a lot of that upper part of the rib cage with their motion, determined by the collarbone, because the peak of the scapula, the acromion, meets the peak of the collarbone at the edge of the shoulder. So they go the exact same location that either one of them go, the exact same location the upper arm bone or the humerus goes, because it meets at the shoulder capsule as well. Okay, so all this is happening, all that motion is happening on one side of the center line of our bodies, and there's a center line to gravity. So this is where clothing comes in, okay? Besides just talking about patterning of the anatomy of the human body, which we do, why is it happening though, and why do we get stuck in it? Why are we in this right-handed patterning? Why is it hard to reach down with the left hand? Why is there a video now, as of this one, under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company titled, Reaching Down with the Left Hand? It's because if tops are not like a cage for the shoulders, if we don't have, quote, even height shoulders, unquote, really it's the importance of even height shoulders, the video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company here, if we don't have even height shoulders, then we've got uneven height shoulders, and there's a center line of the body in between each shoulder. There's a center to gravity that meshes with the center line of the body. The musculature connects to the center line of the body from its outside in is how it pulls. Muscles only pull. The human body only pulls, muscles only contract. Stretch goes the opposite direction. Why you can't stretch the body. A video Dante and I filmed, about a week ago, give or take, as of today's date. There's just a neutral. If you stretch too far to one end, well, you've got to go all the way back to the neutral before you then have the opposite side. The neutral is the resting state. You're damaging the body by pulling on its musculature. The muscles only contract. The muscle fibers fire and get closer together. You never want to be pulling on them. You just don't know what you don't know. If you're stuck in a twist or stuck in chronic patterning, stuck in a position where you're always reaching with your right arm, you might try to stretch things because you've got an imbalance as a center line. You can't stretch the body and benefit from it. I don't care who cares or thinks what or has an opinion. I don't. That's the truth of mechanics. Physics, mathematics is no opinion. You just don't know what you don't know. Check out In The Image Clothing Company content. We give extremely deep discussions, as I'm doing here, and we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, coming up on 400 videos on the main site of In The Image Clothing Company alone as of today's date, discussing this stuff thoroughly. We've got around 1,000 videos on all four sides of In The Image Clothing Company combined as of today's date, the 2nd of January 2026. Don't believe anything. There's only truth though. Okay? Don't stretch your body. Never. You'll damage it. You'll just do it again the next day, and again the next day, and again the next day. But if we're always reaching down with our right hand, we've got an imbalance. Well, where neck pain really comes from, it's actually titled What Really Is Neck Pain. a video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company here. I filmed down in beautiful St. George, Utah, where Dante and I will be moving down to. It was a little over a month and a half ago from today's date. I was down there for a couple weeks, give or take 2.5 weeks. I filmed a lot of beautiful videos, and that was one of them. Well, we're supporting the head on top of our bodies. You know, the jaw is stabilizing the entire body, and its musculature goes through the collar of our tops, and it just all needs to be evenly opposing the center line with Earth-centered gravity pull. If we've got an imbalance anywhere, you'll just have tightness, you know? There you go. You'll try to stretch it. It's impossible to benefit from that. There's just a center that has to be there. And if it's not, you'll never have a rest. You'll never have a neutral. And things will just tighten up because they can't rest. It's like hanging your arms down at your sides, but always holding them slightly in front of you. You'll never rest. And you can try to stretch all you want, but there's just a resting gravity pull. It's no opinion. No new information, okay? You just don't know if you don't know, just as I didn't either until I did, you know? It's just what it is. So, reaching with the left hand though, reaching down with the left hand, the point is the hand is the shoulder, okay? I am cold, man. So it's, you know, my range of motion is a little bit less than it is when it's not as quite as cold as it is now. I'm shaking, I'm shivering, I'm just like trying to get through this because this is a huge video. And a lot of what we do is just the date marks, you know, just showing we've been saying the same thing since the founding, you know, of In The Image Clothing Company, showing the congruency, even through the wind noise. That's what I mean. If you can hear it, you can hear it. It's about documenting it just so that it's here under the gift of video. Okay, it's been done. Just so you know, okay? Just so you know. So there you go, because you can know, you can get the information. He just, like, sat right against my leg. Hey, buddy. Oh, goodness, I love Dante. Okay, so, reaching with the left arm. Picture it like this. These bones on the upper back, the scapula, they are wrapping around the rib cage, like I'm saying. And like you were able to see when I turned around there, man, now there's an airplane flying by as well. It's fine, but it's just more noise, you know, in addition to the wind noise, the road noise, the river that's right there. I'm shaking, like full body shaking. I don't think Dante's even really cold at all. I don't think so. Maybe the pads of his feet a tiny bit. I don't think so, though. Dante's awesome. Okay. I don't have a coat like Dante. Not quite the same. If we have our bodies having these shoulder blades wrapping around the rib cage, well, as that's happening, we're pivoting on the collarbone. And while that's happening, we're having our bodies still have to have their center line remain. Picture like this. Right hand, palm up, okay? Elbows at the natural waist. To have our left hand, palm down, above it, our scapulas have to do different things. Do you see this? Whatever hand has the palm up, okay? Underneath the other hand with the palm down. The hand with the palm up has the scapula kind of wrapping like around the rib cage on the side of it, and on the other side of the body with the hand with the palm down, okay, we have our scapulas wrapping up and over the rib cage, okay? The hand is the shoulder, and so if we have our bodies doing things like this, reaching down with the right arm, okay, with the right hand, which is the right shoulder, that's external rotation. That's our scapula wrapping around our rib cage. The hand on the other side has to be having the scapula up higher and around the rib cage, essentially, just to compensate, just to accommodate. Like, watch my head stay in the same place, right? Let's try to be right in pretty well the center of the frame. Whatever hand's on bottom, externally rotated, is opposing the other hand on top, internally rotated. Whatever hand's on bottom, externally rotating, is opposing the hand on top, internally rotating. But look, it's not just my hands moving, my scapulas are moving, my collarbones are moving, so the shoulder blades are moving, and the clavicle is moving. The elbows are coming up or down from the natural waist. And this is all happening just because we can think about it as reaching down with one hand versus reaching down with the other hand. And we just have to accommodate in a healthy way, not compensate, but just oppose the center line of our bodies, where all the musculature is connecting into, where we've got physical immovable bones staying in the center with our center of gravity pulling down, and rotations from external rotation on one hand, on one side, with internal rotation on the other side, and then we switch, and now we have external rotation on one side and internal rotation on the other side, just opposing depending on what we're doing, as far as if we're reaching down with our left hand or if we're reaching down with our right hand. So there's a lot happening. You can think about the hand all you want. The hand is the shoulder. Before the shoulder can be there, the shoulder is the spine. Before the spine can be there, we're on Earth's gravity with the lowest point of us. Maybe you don't have feet, but if you do, the feet. Opposing the center line of the body, gripping arches inward and keeping us vertical. So the human body can only ever, there's only one way the human body could ever work. I mean, that's the point. That's what we say under In the Image Clothing Company. No new information, no opinion. Dante is the same. In the Image Clothing Company poodles. Right? Letting dogs stay natural. There's only one way. It's not our choice. It's been the same since God. But we have to remember things like gravity. That's one of the biggest focuses we could ever focus on as human beings. No workout's ever going to change your center of gravity that just is always there. Well, that's a video. Your center of gravity under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. It has to remain. And so in order for it to, we have to have accommodation. Healthy accommodation, not compensation. In the body on each side for things to stay in the center line. There's only one way the human body could ever work. No opinion to ever have. It's physically, mechanically, legitimately impossible to train it to do anything, okay? You just have to know what you have to know. You have to know enough to be intentional. You have to know enough to know enough. We don't know what we don't know. We can't be held accountable for what we don't know. Okay. I love that. I'm clipping that. That's going to be its own little video in addition to this full video. Okay. I'm letting you know right now if you're still watching throughout this. I mean, yeah. That's great. That was an amazing way to explain that. That's what I mean. You know, God has given me a gift. He gives us all personal gifts. So the gift that God has given me, one of the gift really God has given me is the ability to speak. Put words together so well and explain things so well. That's what I do. You know, as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, that's what I do. The bulk of it, you know. That's awesome. In the Image Clothing Company music is another fourth of In the Image Clothing Company. A lot of what gets shown is the sizing and setup of guitar to not alter things like that neutral wrist and the rounding in our hands that correlates with the arches in our feet. But lyricism, rhythm and poetry, spoken word, music through singing and guitar playing, whatever it is that we do geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ, those are a lot of the things that we do there. Yeah, man. Fingernails and toenails in all aspects of life to the full tips of the fingers and toes, cut relatively flat so that we don't roll out of that neutral wrist position or the neutral gripped arch position in the feet. And there you go. I think that's probably all I will say. The point with the tops is if they're not sitting on your body like a cage for the shoulders, meaning if you don't have an even measurement from the center line of your body out to the edge of your shoulder and the edge seam of your clothing, you know, on each side of the body, then you'll always be stuck slightly elongated on one side of the body with the musculature, whatever side the top is wider on, and that will cause you to be essentially reaching down with that hand. And the thing is, if you're always or almost always using your right hand, being right-handed in this right-handed world, you're just going to have your clothing be wider on the right side if it's wider on either side. Clothing's just woven material together. If you're just using your arm within your clothing more on the right side than you just about ever are on the left side, and you just wear the material any wider on one side than the other, then you're just reaching a little bit more on that side than the other, okay? And it can be just a little bit, but then you're just stuck in a little bit of an imbalance when there is a center line to your body, there's a center line to Earth's gravity. So the focus on clothing has to fit. Clothing truly is the only fix to human beings' physical problems. It's nothing to do with us having a clothing company, except it's on the back end. We have a clothing company because what clothing does to the body. It's not like we're trying to make it be something clothing could be doing for the body so that we can have a clothing company. It's because it's needed, okay? So there you go. I'm gonna just leave it right there. Thank you and goodbye.